Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. The gunman reportedly kills 28 persons in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State. Atiku meets with Kogi State PDP stakeholders to resolve lingering crises. On the foreign scene, 31 sailors missing after a vessel carrying crew capsized in the Gulf of Thailand. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Femi Olanipeku. Gunmen have reportedly killed over 28 people in separate attacks in Malagum 1 and Sokwang communities of Kagoro Chiefdom in Kaura local government area of Kaduna State yesterday. The council chairman, Honorable Matthias Simon, who confirmed the incident in Eastman this morning, said he could only confirm 7 people who were gruesomely killed in Sokwang community. According to him, all the houses in Sokwang community had been completely razed down by the terrorists, adding that he is yet to confirm the killings in Malagum 1. Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Kaura local government area, Honorable Atung Stephen, said over 22 people had been confirmed dead in Malagum 1, while 8 were said to have been killed in Sokwang. Atung described the killings as steadily while calling on the federal government and security agencies to redouble their efforts in order to curtail renewed killings in the area. However, as of the first time, the spokesman of the Kaduna State Police Command, Mohammed Jalige, could not be reached. In Niger State, the government has lauded the release of 7 Chinese nationals who were kidnapped at Ajata Boki Shiroro local government area of the state. The abducted victims were rescued by the Nigerian Air Force after spending 6 months in the den of kidnappers. In a statement signed by the Commissioner for Internal Security and Humanitarian Affairs, Emmanuel Umar, the Niger State government said it received with great joy the reports on the rescue mission undertaken by the Air Force. The statement did not state if ransoms were paid in exchange of the Chinese nationals. The kidnappers of the Chinese nationals had killed 37 security personnel in the process of executing the kidnap at a mining site. Suspected hoodlums have raised a section of the Owerri Magistrate Court in Imo State. The Magistrate Court, which is located at the heart of the state capital, houses the Owerri High Court. It was gathered that the suspects came with explosives and targeted a section of the roof of the facility. While the extent of the damage caused by the arson had not been ascertained, it was learned that sensitive court materials and documents, including files, were burned. Police spokesperson for the State Command, Michael Abatam, confirmed the incident, adding that the command had begun an investigation with a view to arresting the culprits. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has met with a former governor of Kogi State, Ibrahim Idris, and other party stakeholders in the north-central state. In a tweet via his Twitter page yesterday night, the former vice president said that the essence of the meeting was to resolve internal differences in the Kogi chapter of the party and find ways to unite and recover Nigeria. Atiku said that he encouraged the former governor Idris to lead the initiative to reconcile the stakeholders to ensure a united front for electoral success, adding that the party can only win the 2023 elections united and stronger. According to the PDP flag bearer, all party members have a role to play in the party's quest to win the 2023 presidential election and other polls. And the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Senator Rabiu Kwankwanso, says the NNPP is a credible alternative to the All Progressives Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party PDP in the 2023 general election. Senator Kwankwanso said this during an interaction with the Christian Association of Nigeria, 19 northern states in Kaduna, adding that the APC is worse than the PDP. He called the Nigerians not to vote based on sentiment, stating that as a Muslim, he supported former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who are Christians, to become president against Buhari. Senator Kwankwanso further revealed that if elected, he will rejig the security architecture and increase security personnel to address the security challenges bedeviling the country, adding that his administration will give education and employment a priority. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says politicians buying permanent voters' cards, PVCs, to manipulate the 2023 general elections are engaging in futile efforts. INEC National Commissioner Festus Okoye made this known in a news chart, adding that the bimodal voter registration system BVAS will reject biometric data of persons who are not original owners of the traded PVCs. Late last week, two non-governmental organizations had alleged that politicians are buying PVCs from poor voters to manipulate the next elections. However, Okoye described the plan by the desperate politicians who are allegedly harvesting PVCs to rig the next election as a dead end. He insisted that it was an electoral offense to be found with a PVC that doesn't belong to one, noting that security agencies have the responsibility to go after such individuals and prosecute them. Meanwhile, ahead of the 2023 general election, the European Union has pledged to support credible polls in Nigeria. Speaking during a visit to Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki at the Government House in Benin City, EU Ambassador to Nigeria Samuela Isopi said Nigeria's progress is of importance as its partner and continental neighbor. According to her, the Union has supported the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and other stakeholders by providing technical assistance as well as expertise. The envoy noted that Europe, just like Nigerians, is interested in free, fair, and credible elections in Africa's most populous nation. On his part, Governor Obaseki commended the EU for its partnership with Nigeria and subnationals like Edo State, even beyond politics. The Nasarawa State Social Democratic Party SDP gubernatorial candidate Alhaji Mustafa Mohammed Alfa has said that the attacks on the facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) are a ploy by some elements in the country to the postponement next year to postpone the next year general elections. The SDP flag bearer disclosed these in Abuja yesterday, stating that the perpetrators of such acts are not spirits, but Nigerians who were determined to sabotage the polls by all means. He added that it was the same set of people who have been doing everything possible to oppose the deployment of modern technology for the conduct of the polls as planned by the electoral body. He urged the nation's security forces to rise up and arrest those who described as the enemies of the state before the world set the entire country ablaze. Alhaji Alpha, who said that the SDP was on a rescue mission, urged Nigerians to be vigilant and expose criminal elements in their vicinity so that the nation could have a peaceful poll. And the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) has notified Nigerians of counterfeit BTNX Incorporated COVID-19 antigen rapid test kits in circulation. In a statement, NAFDAC said it was notified of the counterfeit kits circulation by Health Canada. The agency said the fake test kits were sold online in 25-pack boxes by a distributor which does not have the required license. The agency advised wholesalers, distributors, pharmacies, and consumers to ensure that their products are obtained from authentic and reliable sources. NAFDAC also encouraged the healthcare providers to increase vigilance within the supply chain and advised healthcare providers to prevent the administration of the product to unsuspecting patients. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. I'll be right back after this break. you so much for staying with us on the Spring News at 12. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has vowed to fight on until they withheld 8-month salaries of its members during the period of the recently suspended strike are paid to them in full. ASU President Professor Emmanuel Osodeke disclosed these in a news chart, adding that the lecturers might consider instituting a suit against the federal government in a bid to compel it to release the withheld salaries. They have, however, expressed reservation about approaching a court over what he termed slow dispensation of justice in the country. Professor Osodeke further stated that aside the court, the union would continue to explore the means of compelling the government to pay outstanding salary arrears. ASU had embarked on protracted strike on February 14, 2022 over failure of the federal government to meet the demands of the union. The strike was eventually suspended on October 14, 2022, based on orders of an appeal court. In business, the Economic Commission for Africa has said government policies must support the harmonization of regional value chains to further trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area. In a statement, the Chief Technology Section Technology, Climate Change and Natural Resource Division at the ECA, Maktar Sek, made this known. SEC stated that the AFCFTA provides new opportunities for local businesses to build new linkages in the supply chains and inter-African trade. He said governments must create enabling policies and support the harmonization of regional value chains, adding that integrating 55 economies on the continent into one was a powerful development. Twitter's owner, Elon Musk, is asking users of the social media platform to vote on his future as its chief executive. In a poll to his 122 million followers, he asked if he should step down. The technology tycoon, who also runs Tesla and SpaceX, has faced criticism since taking over Twitter. Mr. Musk also announced on Twitter that major policy changes would be voted on moving forward. The poll comes as Twitter says it will shut down accounts solely designed to promote other social media platforms, but cross-content posting from other sites will still be allowed. And on the foreign scene, Thailand's Navy say 31 sailors are missing after a warship carrying over 100 crew capsized and sank during a storm in the Gulf of Thailand. The warship sank after water flooded its power controls last night. Authorities today said they had rescued 75 crew, but 31 were still missing in rough seas. The Navy said search crews worked through the night to find survivors, and the operation was continuing. They also announced an investigation into the cause of the disaster. And 5 people were killed and another was wounded in a shooting in the suburbs of the Canadian city of Toronto. Local police chief Jim Maxwell told journalists that the suspect also died after an exchange of fire with law enforcement, saying the shooting took place in an apartment building. The victims were found in different apartments in a building which is located in Vaughan, the suburbs about 30 kilometers north of Toronto. Police are investigating the motive and whether there was a connection between the victims and the male suspect, who has not been named. The suspect allegedly acted alone.
Tell you at this point is there are 5 deceased victims, 1 deceased subject, and 1 victim who was initially shot and transported to a local hospital. And our officers are continuing the investigation here. We have our emergency response unit on scene, as well as our forensic identification officers. The emergency response unit is actually clearing the building. So what we're trying to do is make sure the residents that live behind us here in this building are able to get back as soon as possible. That will take some time. It takes a significant amount of time to clear these buildings. As you can see, it's a large building, but we'll do our very best to get that cleared up. There's no further threat to the community at this point.
3 Jordanian police personnel have been killed in a raid on the hideout of the suspected killers of a policeman in the southern city of Man. The police said one of the suspects, believed to be a fighter, was killed today. A senior police officer had been killed in clashes with demonstrators in Man on Friday during the protests over high fuel prices that have spread to several cities across Jordan. And in sports, Argentina are 2022 World Cup champions for the third time after beating France on penalties in the final in Qatar. Gonzalo Montiel scored the winning spot kick to give the South Americans a 4-2 victory in a shootout after a frantic game ended 3-3 after extra time. Lionel Messi scored twice and Angel Di Maria netted for the Argentines, while France's Kylian Mbappe became the first player since Geoff Hurst in 1966 to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. Argentina eventually triumphed to seal their third World Cup title, with Messi crowning an extraordinary career by lifting the golden trophy at Lusail Stadium. In the meantime, Lionel Messi says he will not retire from international football after captaining Argentina to a first World Cup trophy in 36 years. The Paris Saint-Germain forward was asked about his future by Argentine TV station TYC Sports after the South Americans beat France 4-2 on penalties following a 3-3 draw. Messi turns 36 next year but believes he has plenty to offer his country. Messi, who was playing in his fifth World Cup, scored twice in the final and also converted a penalty in the shootout. He won the tournament's Golden Ball, awarded to the best player after scoring 7 goals. Messi will turn 39 during the next World Cup, and he had hinted previously that this edition in Qatar would be his last. However, coach Lionel Scaloni says he wants Messi in his squad for the 2026 tournament, which will take place in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And before we end the news, there is a recap of our top stories. Gunmen have reportedly killed over 28 people in separate attacks in Malagam 1 and Sokwang communities of Kagoro Chiefdom in Kara local government area of Kaduna State yesterday. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, has met with former governor of Kogi State, Ibrahim Idris, and other party stakeholders in the north-central state. And on the foreign scene, Thailand's Navy says 31 sailors are missing after a warship carrying over 100 crew capsized and sank during a storm in the Gulf of Thailand. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends the Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Femi Olani. Good afternoon.